Sarah stared at her phone for the 47th time that evening. Still nothing. No reply. No acknowledgement. Just the cold blue glow of her screen reflecting the emptiness she felt inside. 3 days ago, she'd sent Michael a heartfelt message, pouring out her feelings, asking if they could talk about where things were going. Radio silence. This wasn't the first time. For 8 months, Sarah had been the one initiating every conversation, planning every date, checking in every morning. She convinced herself that if she just loved him harder, showed him more devotion, proved her worth, he'd finally see her the way she saw him. But tonight, sitting alone in her apartment with tears streaming down her face, Sarah faced a brutal truth. The more she chased, the further he pulled away. She typed out another message. "Hey, just checking in. Are we okay?" Her finger hovered over the send button. And then, something inside her broke. Not in a painful way, in a liberating way. She deleted the message. What happened next would change everything. Not just with Michael, but with how Sarah understood her own value. Because psychology reveals something most people never learn until it's too late. The moment you stop chasing is often the exact moment people realize what they've lost. Let me take you deeper into Sarah's journey, because her story is probably your story too. For months, Sarah had been living on breadcrumbs of attention. Michael would go days without texting, then suddenly show up with just enough affection to keep her hooked. He'd cancel plans last minute, but then surprise her with a sweet compliment that made her forget the disappointment. She told herself stories to justify his behavior. He's just busy with work. He's not good at expressing emotions. If I'm patient enough, he'll come around. Her friend saw it clearly. "Sarah, he's breadcrumbing you," her best friend Lauren warned. "You're always available. You're always there. You've made yourself too accessible." But Sarah couldn't hear it. She was convinced that her love, her loyalty, her constant presence would eventually win him over. The turning point came on a Friday night. Sarah had planned a surprise dinner for Michael's promotion at work. She'd made reservations at his favorite restaurant, bought him a thoughtful gift, even wore the dress he once said he loved. He never showed up. No call. No text. Just nothing. At 9 p.m., sitting alone at that table with pitying looks from the waitstaff, Sarah made a decision. She paid for the wine she'd nervously sipped, walked out of that restaurant, and for the first time in 8 months, she chose herself. She didn't send an angry text. She didn't demand an explanation. She simply stopped. Stopped texting first. Stopped making excuses for him. Stopped chasing. Now, here's where the story gets fascinating, and where psychology reveals something that will blow your mind. 72 hours after Sarah stopped reaching out, guess what happened? Michael texted, "Hey stranger, you've been quiet. Everything okay?" Then 2 days later, "I miss talking to you." Then, a week later, "Can we meet up? I think I messed up." What happened? Did Michael suddenly develop feelings? Did he have an epiphany? Not exactly. What happened was far more powerful, and understanding this will transform every relationship in your life. Now let's dive into the psychology. 1. The scarcity principle. Human psychology is wired around one fundamental truth: we value what is scarce. When Sarah was constantly available, constantly chasing, constantly proving herself, she wasn't scarce, she was abundant. And here's the brutal reality. Abundant things don't trigger our value receptors. They don't activate the part of our brain that says, "I need to pursue this before I lose it." Research by Dr. Robert Cialdini on the principle of scarcity shows that people assign higher value to opportunities that are less available. When Sarah was always there, Michael's brain literally didn't register her as valuable because there was no scarcity, no risk of loss. The moment she withdrew, scarcity kicked in. His brain suddenly screamed, "Wait, where did she go? What am I losing?" 2. The psychological reactance theory. Here's the second principle. Humans resist being controlled, and we desire freedom. When you're chasing someone, you're inadvertently trying to control the dynamic. You're pushing, pursuing, demanding attention, even if you don't mean it that way. And what does the human psyche do when it feels controlled? It pulls away. Psychologist Jack Brem discovered this in his research on reactance. When people feel their freedom is threatened, they're motivated to restore it, often by doing the opposite of what's being asked of them. Sarah's constant pursuit triggered Michael's reactance. Her withdrawal, that gave him back his psychological freedom, which paradoxically made him choose to pursue her. 3. The mirror effect. Here's the third psychological truth that changed everything for Sarah. People treat you the way you treat yourself. When Sarah was chasing Michael, she was unconsciously broadcasting a message. I need you more than you need me. My worth depends on your validation. Michael's subconscious picked up on this. And if SHE didn't value herself enough to have standards, to have boundaries, to walk away from inconsistent behavior, why should he value her? The moment Sarah stopped chasing, she sent a different signal. I have standards. I have self-respect. I don't need anyone who doesn't recognize my worth. That shift didn't just change Michael's perception, it changed Sarah's reality. 4. The investment gap. Fourth principle. People value what they invest in. While Sarah was doing all the work, planning, initiating, emotional labor, Michael wasn't investing anything. And psychology shows us that we value things proportionally to how much we invest in them. Think about it. You don't care about a free trial you never use, but a gym membership you pay $100 a month for? You're showing up because you've invested. When Sarah stopped chasing, she created an investment gap. If Michael wanted her in his life now, he had to do the work. He had to invest, and that investment would make him value her more. 5. The truth bomb. Here's what all of this reveals. Chasing someone doesn't make them value you. It makes them comfortable with your devaluation of yourself. The moment you stop chasing isn't when you play games. It's when you remember your worth. And that is what triggers a shift in how others perceive you. So what happened with Sarah and Michael? When Michael reached out, desperately trying to reconnect, Sarah didn't ignore him. But she also didn't rush back. She responded calmly. I appreciate you reaching out. I've realized I need someone who's consistent, who values my time and effort, who doesn't make me question where I stand. I'm not interested in going backward, only forward. Michael was stunned. He tried harder. Suddenly, he was the one initiating dates, showing up early, asking about her day, making effort. But here's the beautiful part. Sarah had changed. She no longer needed Michael's validation to feel worthy. She had reclaimed her power. They did try again, but this time on completely different terms. Terms where Sarah's needs mattered, where her time was respected, where she was pursued, not pursuing. And if it hadn't worked out, Sarah already knew she'd be fine, because her worth was never dependent on someone else recognizing it. Because the people who are meant for you will never make you chase them. And the ones who do, they're not your people. You deserve someone who sees your worth from day one, not someone who only recognizes it when they think they've lost it. Stop chasing. Start living. Your power has been there all along. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more psychology-backed relationship advice, and drop a comment telling me, have you ever stopped chasing someone and what happened? See you in the next one.